Hello, this is Mike of Enough Dice, and this is the Kerbal space program. This is my science-based prototype. I'm reasonably happy with it. It's got the things that I think I need. Oh, I just remembered something. Ahaha. I need an antenna on this. But when I put those on, I kept losing track of which way the base was, which way was going to be up on this base. So I actually put the antennas down the bottom, which is actually a bit silly. What I want to do today is I want to come up with try and come up with something resembling a Skycrane for this. That is going to sit on here and maneuver this thing around. This is pretty much on the center of mass, so it should be reasonably easy to transport around and keep level. What I think I'm just going to quickly do, I'm going to call this the front, and I'm going to call this back. So later on, when I am maneuvering this, so I'm almost certainly going to be using KOS to maneuver the thing. I can actually keep track of front and back and make sure that they're level as best I can. Anyway. So I want to build a Skycrane. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily grab the whole thing and turn it so that it's horizontal, because this is how it's going to be when it's being maneuvered by the Skycrane. And it's going to start from there. That's what we're going to start with. Doop 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 doop. What'll I put there? Let's start with the fuel tank. Honestly, I mean, Ooh, that's entertaining. Wanted it to go almost anywhere except on there. How much mass have we got per minute? 8 tons. It's quite a bit. Now, my immediate thought is, oh, that's not. I'm wondering if that's a bit too much. What are my other options? Right, hang on. How much does that weigh? 0.375 versus... Oh, they're about the same. Okay. That's little. I'm not sure. Because I'm going to want to bring the engines out here. That actually might be about right, I think. Trying to work out where 45 degrees is going to be. Right, okay. Now, what engines are going to be good is a question. Now, nukes are going to be heavy. In fact, nukes are going to be ridiculous heavy. There's no point doing that. I mean, they're 3 tons. This thing weighs 8 tons already, so that just ridiculously increases the amount of weight the whole thing is going to take up. So we're not going to do that. I think Spark's going to be what we want. I mean, it's got a very low thrust, but they've also got very low weight. There is a bit of a question exactly how I'm going to attach them. Let's go back to structural. Hang on, which way is that turning everything? There we go. All right, I was possibly okay. Maybe I was overly confident that this would notice that that's connected. Okay. Well, see, the other option, well, I don't think we're going to need that now. Other options to do stuff like... Oh, I've lost the engine there, where's it gone? Oh, there it is. The other option is to do stuff like that, where the fuel is there, and I would just replicate that as so. Yeah. Oh, I suspect it's these things don't have these. Those are things that don't have no fuel crossfeed. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, whereas the modular girders do have fuel crossfeed. That's rather interesting. I wonder. Oh, okay. The problem is that the girders are considerably long. Yeah, they're somewhat longer. They don't look longer there, but that's because they're actually crossing over each other. Of course, I can make fuel crossfeed because there's the fuel pipes. So I could use those. So those aren't long enough, and those are too long, really, to do what I want. The advantage, well, how much is that worth? So that has the advantage of being reasonably. Right, let's get rid of that. Those are the right weight. Or they weigh less. Certainly there weigh less than 2 of those things. Yeah, they weigh, yeah, okay. But there's no fuel feed. Which is inconvenient because obviously I don't have enough fuel here. I need to take those off and reposition them each time. Whereas it'd be kind of nice if I just had, in fact that's what I'm going to do. Going to grab octagonal stress. Unless the cubicle is, yeah, we'll go for these. Grab the engine. I thought I could just grab that. I thought I could just grab the... Well, I could just go here to engines and grab it from there. There we go. Is this in fact not something I can do? Okay, so that's now plonk. Fairly big fuel tank. Don't know if this is going to work. That certainly seems to have worked. All right. I think that's going to save me some weight, doing it that way. However, if I'm going to do it that way, I'm going to need quite a big tank. Ooh, that's possibly a bit. Let's do it that way. Let's do it by size. That's at about a ton. Thrust to weight ratio is actually going to be quite high, so that's going to be good. So that's going to be good for deorbiting. Do I want even more delta V is the question I ask myself. Theoretically, if I remember rightly, it's really only about 600 delta V to go from lunar orbit to landing, but that's assuming that I'm being reasonably delicate about this. So I'm just going to quickly use my tablet here and come up with a so allegedly it's 630 meters a second to land, right? But that's assuming I'm doing it very precisely and very cleverly and very properly, and that I'm not screwing up at any point. I don't know how likely that is. Alright, so the centre of mass ends up about there. Chuck in one of those. Now, of course, I'm doing that, I'm going to need batteries and such. And I'm going to want the KOS processor to actually maneuver the thing. Plonk that there, that should be out of the way. Because the next thing I want to do is I want to add Werner engines. Now I could do with RCS, but that's adding a whole new extra bunch of things. Although if I were to do it by RCS, there are some advantages. And if I put the RCS engines actually here, that actually makes a certain amount of sense. You see that's very close to the center of mass. Problem. I mean, obviously, the problem is the center of mass is out here. Now, what? Do I want to start thinking about extending? I mean, the issue being that I won't get a perfect kind of, you know, I want to translate really smoothly. But we're doing it this way. It'll you know, because I'll get all that kind of wobbling. But I may well be able to get away with that. And I just had someone at the door, so I'm just going to have to go deal with that. They'd already gone, so there was no one there. Right, if I'm using RCS engines, I obviously want some RCS fuel. It has the advantage of moving the centre of mass slightly further up and thus towards where everything's going to be anyway, so that's quite good. Batteries. Oh, bah. I've sorted things by size and not by what I usually do. So I didn't know where anything was. Let's go back to sorting by name, so at least I know where things are. Yeah, let's do that. I'll use retractable panels even though this isn't going to be at any point coming back into atmosphere. But I may well be undergoing serious acceleration. I may, you know, when I'm deorbiting and stuff, so it might be an idea to have a be able to retract the panels just in case. Alright, so it's going to be able to maneuver. It's going to be able to do jet stuff. Thrust to weight ratio of 2.8, which is quite good. Got batteries, it's got the KOS module, it's got an SAS module, got solar panels. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck a docking port on top. Right, so fundamentally, that's the idea. So if I just turn off the mass thing, there we go. This is actually what I'm planning to send. Actually up into space. Probably want some struts in there, purely for launch, because that's when there's going to be lots of forces, and I don't think it's going to be quite so important to do it. But otherwise, that's the basic prototype for what's going to be sent up into orbit and around the Mun. And then I get around there, detach that, it goes on there, and I'm hoping I've got enough fuel. Although I'm beginning to wonder if I don't want another bunch of Delta V in there. But that's pretty much the idea, and I guess the next stage is going to be trying to get this into orbit. So thanks so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Hurrah. Find New Left Dice at newleftdice.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, you can find us there. And until next time, reach for the stars.